So
sounds good.
With that being said, thank you for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. By popular demand, Sophia is back. I know y'all, she was tripping. She hadn't been here for a while. She was busy.
Missed it. I missed it. I'm
Sophia does have a life. She does have a life. No, I'm just kidding. Sophia don't have a life. I'm just kidding.
You know I'm on Twitter.
Yeah, right. If you miss her that much, you go follow her on Twitter. She will definitely keep you entertained. Speaking of Twitter, we got to talk about Khanna. Now, for those of you who watched my live stream yesterday on Twitch, this is going to be the censored version of that. Okay. On Twitch, I use a lot of 4-letter words that I couldn't really use on YouTube without getting demonetized and probably having my damn video taken down, probably having the Secret Service pop up at my house at some point. But I still want to cover it because it's extremely important. And we need to illustrate just how some people who claim to be allies and look like allies because they've learned our language as progressives, as independents, are not necessarily our allies, but they're instead wolves in sheep's clothing. So Khanna, after not saying a damn word about Tulsi being smeared for the last 6 months, after not only not saying a word about Tulsi being smeared, but also the same Khanna who found time to defend Rachel Maddow, who said that Warren and Bernie Sanders would be a dream ticket, which I have my own theory about why he said that. The same Khanna who he pretends like he's exclusively for Medicare for all, but then 3 months after Jai Powell's bill got passed, he endorsed Medicare for America. Co-sponsored it, yeah.
And he's been silent on that fact. So
yeah, he's been trying to pretend like he did not do that, but he did. The same Khanna who's been pushing Russiagate, the same Khanna that endorsed Joe Crowley over AOC and then lied and pretended as if he didn't know who AOC was. That's why he didn't endorse her, even though they're both Justice Democrats. And oh yeah, why the fuck did you endorse anybody? And why did you feel the need to endorse Joe Crowley if he wasn't running against anybody at that point? Why did you endorse him at all? That doesn't make any sense. And also, why did you endorse a corporate Dem if the whole point of Justice Democrats is to primary and remove corporate Democrats? So there's that.
He's been kissing up to Pelosi and Hillary Clinton sometimes. And he said that Assange was responsible for handing Trump the election. It was just like...
Didn't want to give any real credit to Assange for his brilliant journalism, because his journalism did not start in 2016.
Because he had literally a section about Khanna in the WikiLeaks, like the leak of the email.
Exactly. So this is the same Khanna. He decided to go and respond to a post by one Peter Friedrich. Now, this is what Peter, matter of fact, let me pull the screen up. So I want y'all to see it. I covered a little bit in the last live stream we just did, but I want to definitely have y'all see this again. So hopefully y'all can see this. This is the post from Peter Friedrich. Long-form narrative, how U.S. affiliates of the RSS, a fascist paramilitary in India, financed the rise of Tulsi Gabbard in exchange for her help in rehabilitating Modi's tarnished reputation. And then Khanna responded, important article. It's the duty of every American politician of Hindu faith to stand for pluralism, reject Hindutva, and speak for equal rights for Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Christians. And
which she's literally done all of those, but okay.
Exactly. That is the vision of India my grandfather Amarnath Vidyalankar fought for. So before I go on my dissertation about this nonsense, what do you have to say about that before I go on my rant about it?
I mean, does he not know her at all? I mean, he literally works with her in the house, and it sounds like he has no idea who she is, or obviously the fact that she stood up for Bernie in 2016. I mean, I don't know if he just doesn't know that about her or something. If he feels the need to comment on this.
Oh, he knows. He knows.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
There's no way you don't know.
And it's just, it's just like, if you know anything about her, he was endorsed by HAF, which is the Hindu American Foundation. Same with Tulsi. So, and then she's gotten smeared for that, because apparently that's a Hindu nationalist organization. So if anything, he should understand that people have this like fake outrage over HAF being affiliated with the Hindu nationalists, which is not true. But immediately after seeing HAF, they automatically assume that Tulsi is affiliated with RSS and BJP. But it's just so weird that he literally laid out exactly what she's done. She is a very adamant proponent of secularism, even though she's Hindu. Like you can see that in every single one of her speeches where she talks about religion, she always includes, she even includes atheists, she includes Hindus, she includes Muslims, she includes Christians, whatever. She includes everyone. And she specifically says that the only way that you can have a government that works for the people is if you have a secular government, if you have a pluralist government. So she specifically says that. So there's nothing about her Hindu faith that's forcing her to be like, okay, I don't want that. I want a Hindu nationalist society. I want, Hinduism first. That's not.
Yeah, she's never advocated, because that would be right. Because that would end up being the argument that would actually make their logic make sense, is that she's been advocating for pro-Hindu policies within the government, whether it be in India or in America. And that's literally never been the case. In fact, the one time that the United States tried to exert some type of force over India's politics, specifically in Gujarat, while Modi was in charge, they were trying to interfere with Modi's government. And Tulsi actually voted against it because it was an overreach, and it was done by Republicans, because the Republicans were upset that Modi would not allow the evangelicals there who were trying to convert Muslims into Christians by paying them off, basically. What's new, right? Modi was like, no, you can't do that. If you're going to convert people, you can't do it by bribing them. Because Modi clearly has done his research and know that the first step to Western colonialism is what? It's conversion. And so that's why a lot of Western puppet governments run on a theocratic doctrine of some kind, like whether it be Saudi Arabia, whether it be the Taliban when they were in charge of Afghanistan. Like, all of our puppet governments all usually rule by theocracy. And so that's why it's so important to understand that for whatever issue you have with Modi, him saying, no, you're not allowed to just convert Muslims into Christians, because it wasn't even about Hindus at this point. He was actually he was protecting the religious minority in his community from religious evangelical predators, which I wish would happen in more countries more often, because that's what happens, right? That's what happened in South Africa. That's one of the reasons South Africa ended up looking the way it does today. So let me go back. I want to pull this back up because it's super important. Like, I can't.
Yeah, and what's also weird too is that the article, it doesn't let you actually read the article unless you subscribe and pay for it.
You have to subscribe.
So
exactly.
Did he actually pay for it and read it, or did he just read the headline and decide to comment on it and be an ass?
Read the headline, because the first time I read this article, I paid for it in February. And the reason why was because, and this is the important part about this whole discussion, Peter Friedrich is a Hinduphobic prick who never ever substantiates the thing he says. The most evidence that he offers is circumstantial at best. But the one main claim that he brings up usually is that Tulsi's taking all this money from Hindu nationalists. So my first interaction with Peter Friedrich was in LA, and actually Pasta was there as well. And we were kind of like, okay, well, if you're going to claim, I'm always willing to learn something new, no matter what, regardless of whether or not I like Tulsi. So I'm like, if you are serious about this, because it was a protest, if you're serious about this, what information do you have to prove this? Because I need to bring this to her attention. Because if there are a bunch of nationalists that are proven nationalists donating to her, actually, I'm sure she would want to know about it. One time, a PAC tried to donate. It wasn't a lot of money. It was like $1,000, but it was like some anonymous PAC. And I told them about it. And she was like, oh, thanks for letting me know so they can give the money back. So like, she would want to know. So I said, what are you talking about, man? What do you mean they gave her money? He was like, they gave her over $200,000 in donations this election cycle. I was like, bruh, what do you mean $200,000? Because mind you, I just had a conversation with her finance guy. And we were laughing about how broke the campaign was, that like, and how successful they had been putting on events anyway, because basically everything was ran by volunteers. So I'm like, $200,000, shit. I mean, I'm sure they would love to find $200,000 somewhere. So where are you getting this claim from? Where's your evidence? Did you bring that with you? Nah, man, I don't got it on me. What you mean you don't got it on you? Pasta got him saying this on camera. What do you mean you don't have? Man, you know, but RSS, no, bro. No. Don't try to change this. I hate when people do that shit. Often I had gotten into a debate with somebody from Move to Impeach as well. Same thing, try to change the subject. That's not what I said. You're making your entire protest right now is based off this idea that Tulsi took all this money, and you don't have the one document that could prove that. Anything that could prove that? Well, no, not on me. But if you give me your email, you can subscribe. I can add you to my email list and I can send it to you there. I gave him my email. Never got anything. Go up to San Francisco for the Democratic convention in California. They show up again, stalking Tulsi. Same people. I asked this man again because he wasn't expecting me and Posse to show back up. We were like, bro, what's up, man? Glad you're here. You got that information we asked for a while ago? Well, nah, man. We don't have it with us, but if you give us an email, man. I said, no. I waited for an email for 4 months and you still never sent me anything, remember? So, and I added you on Twitter. You know, we went back and forth. I don't know if you remember. Like, so basically, this man had money, hundreds of dollars at least, to buy posters. I mean, professional posters, professional prints, a bunch of paraphernalia and literature about RSS, anti-Tulsi literature, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and didn't have the time to print anything that could actually prove his point. This is the guy who wrote an article that Khanna endorsed under Tulsi Gabbard's post from August the 12th. So what it looks like is that Ro literally was scrounging around looking under Tulsi's posts and saw this and decided to pile on to the other attacks that have been aimed at Tulsi. That's ridiculous. That is absurd. And I love the fact that people came to call him out. Bernie supporters, some Bernie supporters were mad, were actually more upset than Tulsi supporters were. Because at the end of the day, like, you have to realize that this is Bernie Sanders' campaign co-chair.
Yeah.
Co-chairs with Nina Turner. So this reflects badly on him. I don't like to say it reflects badly on Bernie, because like Ro's a grown man. Ro needs to accept responsibility for his actions. And it's, if you look at the entire context of his actions, like Sophia pointed out earlier, this is right up the ballpark of a pattern of behavior that we have been seeing from Ro. But in my opinion, it also it gives us a glimpse into what Khanna's ultimate goals are. There's a reason he's pushing Warren over Tulsi and Nina. Tulsi and Nina are his contemporaries. That means from an ambition perspective, Tulsi and Nina are his adversaries, because from everything we know right now, it looks like it's going to be Tulsi or Nina as vice president. Ro wants that VP spot. But like Nina said in a tweet responding to one of the people calling out Roe for being divisive and splitting the progressive movement, she was very clear. She said, Tulsi and I have been on the ground for Bernie since 2015. So I don't know what is wrong with these people doing this foolishness, as in causing division and attacking Tulsi, specifically Bernie supporters. Specifically, it looked like in that particular conversation, she was calling out Khanna, which I said was extremely important because she is the co-chair. Mm-hmm. So, but once again, Ro and Nina really haven't seen eye to eye as far as when it comes to auxiliary issues. They haven't seen eye to eye this entire election. So, what do you think Ro's ultimate goal is here?
I really don't know. I mean, I think you could be right with the vice president thing, but it just makes no sense that he would take the time out of his day to comment on an article that was posted on one of her ads. And if he had an issue with it, with the article, he should have like sent it to her or something and been like, hey, this article was written about you. Is this true or something?
Oh my God. That's so true.
Yeah, he didn't need to just like take it as gospel and then just comment on it and be like, oh yeah, this is really concerning to me. You know, all Hindus that are in Congress need to speak out against this, even though she's already done that. So he either doesn't know that about her, he hasn't paid attention to her at all, or he's purposely trying to go out of his way to criticize her.
And I want to answer this last super chat. I want to answer this last super chat because Sophia does have to go. She has to go on another show because she's getting too popular for us already. Scripts to clips for series and flicks. That's a long name. Thanks for the super chat. Has Bernie been informed of Roe's smear? He so needs to censor Roe on Twitter within that thread, or someone will turn this into his support of this. Oh yeah, I don't know if he's been informed. A lot of people have tagged him, but there are already people saying like, bro, this is because like from a realistic perspective, right? We can't ignore how people just naturally react, and when it comes to the divvying up of responsibility. If Sophia just started flying off the hips saying things that were completely and totally untrue, it doesn't matter if it's Sophia's words. People are gonna come to me or come to people on the MCSC network and say, the hell's wrong with Sophia, bruh? She tripping. This is your people. It's your people. She on your show. So like, even though it's not me, and we should attribute people's actions to their own act to themselves, at the end of the day, that's not how life really works. And so people have been saying, what the hell, Bernie? What do you like? Once again, you couldn't fix your lips to come defend Tulsi against Hinduphobic smears one single time. But yet you've felt it completely and totally like okay to literally just, bro, the article he was clear in the tweet. This is about Tulsi. She supports right-wing nationalists and she is trying to rehabilitate Modi and his reputation, which on its face, and if you don't know about Modi, as far as like just specifically speaking to his reputation, the man won two elections by a landslide. And in the first couple of years of his first election, he had an 84% approval rating. And by his, like right now, like literally right, he still has a 74% approval rating. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about rehabilitating his reputation. He don't need a rehabilitated reputation. And Tulsi, a congresswoman who is being constantly smeared, has no ability to rehabilitate Modi's reputation. So that claim on its face is idiotic. It's idiotic and it makes no legitimate sense. So that's first of all. But second of all, it's a clear attempt to smear Tulsi. And like Sophia just said, you could have reached out to Tulsi. You got her damn number, bro. You got her number, dog. You could have reached out to her. Y'all have worked together on multiple pieces of legislation since 2017. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't reach out to her as a professional. And you talking about something, it's important for every politician, every Hindu politician. Bro, y'all the only Hindus in Congress. Who else are you talking about? Oh, the person whose post you're responding to, the person whose name is mentioned in the tweet. Come on, bro. With that being said, people, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Make sure you comment. If you have any questions for me that you did not get a chance to ask in Super Chat, you can go to qbounty.com. That's QBOUNTI.com. You can ask me a Super Chat question there, and I will respond to it in our next live stream or in the individual video. You never know. You might get your own video dedicated to your question. So go to qbounty.com and go ahead and answer and go ahead and ask me a question, and I'll get to it as soon as possible. All that said, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.
All right, I gotta bounce. I have like 2 shows.